Yo everybody, Mobile Gamers Unite here, and we are running some Heroes of Time characters. The reason I'm doing this with Joshua and Estelle here is because I feel like a lot of people, especially new players to the game, aren't really aware of what these characters do, and they might have to come up against them in PvP. And they were from a limited banner, so if you didn't pull them and you really don't know what they do, you're probably going to have issues dealing with them. What do I want to do? What's their threat range? I'm running this Estelle with Lance Felix's. Typically though, she would have the Amazons with her. They do make her a lot more offensive. Mine has Breeze on her, and I think that helps the Amazons even more because with Breeze you're going to be cornering people and attacking them one-on-one. Lance Felix's are still good, don't get me wrong. The damage reduction is great for any tank, but she does do a lot more damage with the Amazons. So, and I believe this is a level 55 very hard guild war. That should give you guys an idea. But this is definitely one of my favorite factions to play. A lot of people aren't familiar with it because this faction is made up of pretty much limited collab characters. So a lot of people aren't going to have all of the characters to fully field a team like this. One got through. That's the other thing with Estelle. To have a two block range to guard, she has to do an attack. It can either just be a physical attack or it can be one of her AoEs. But really where this girl shines is AoEs is what she does. This AoE right here has a pretty good range, and instead of 0.36 it's 0.4 damage. So it's pretty substantial to infantry here, or I'm sorry, cavalry. And Joshua's buff helps her a lot. It increases her AoE skill damage, so at least that's the way that mine's set up. A lot of people will put clock on her because she has an auto heal ability, and a lot of times in PvP, if you can get clock to proc on that ability, you're gonna win, right? The only disadvantage this girl has is she can heal herself and everything. Great stats, great attacker. She does not get to come back to life like other tanks do, so you have to be wary of that, which I think is the main reason why people put clock on her, so that they get to throw Phoenix Wave over and over again because it heals her and it does AoE to everybody within 3 blocks. It also makes it so that this girl dispels all debuffs on you after battle, restores 100% of your hit points, and it grants her her Steel Titan and immunity for 2 rounds. That's a big deal because if you can block this girl from buffing, she effectively cannot tank. Without her Steel Guard buff that she gives herself for attacking people, she won't be able to guard anybody. So that's this girl's weakness, is if you can get a buff blocker on her so she can't receive buffs, she's not going to be able to do a lot of the nifty things that she does. And Joshua here, this Joshua's around 6k. This Estelle is over 7k. This is the #1 ranked Estelle on this server. Joshua has a bonus to this stage. Estelle does not. These are pretty much Estelle stats with a just a faction buff on her. So Joshua is an interesting rogue. He was the only rogue that I had for a while, so I did invest into him. He is really good with the extreme magic bow because he gets to bring the blue infantry guys with him, which makes him a lot more tanky as a rogue. Like, you can really get in there and attack people at close range. Here, I'll show you guys. I actually know it first of all. Estelle also is one of the best support tanks in the game, the support ability that she gives everybody. She gives everybody, I think 10 or 15% more damage. I think it's 10, but that's a lot because it stacks on top of everything else. Let's see. Yeah, right here, damage dealt plus 10%. That's a big deal. That's to everybody around her. It's got a nice range. Alright, so this guy, yeah, why not? You can finish these guys off. So the one thing I will say about Joshua and his troops, okay, as far as doing a ranged attack, it's only Joshua that's going to be attacking, right, because his troops are not a ranged attack troop. But Joshua's big thing is his giant AoE that he runs around and throws, and it's going to do a lot of damage to everybody, and then it's going to hit him for a lot of fixed damage. I think these troops are worth it because they're going to keep him alive so he can throw that big AoE. And if you give him an extreme magic bow, then most people that attack him with the guard infantry, they're going to die, right? Like, the guard infantry is going to do decent damage. He's going to do a lot of damage with the extreme magic bow, and he's pretty much going to get to outlive just about any other rogue because of his troop. So like right here, I can do a melee attack on this guy, and typically a rogue would get destroyed right here and his damage would get reduced. So extreme magic bow for Joshua is a big deal. I did get very lucky. I think I have 3 or 4 extreme magic bows. I can't get another converter to save my life though. I will say this though, I wasn't that lucky with what are they, accessories. Like, I've been having to wait, what is that accessory called? The Slayer's Emblem. And I know it got reskinned as like the Swordsmith Medallion or something. I just got that thing. It took me forever. Let's see. Joshua, and pretty much at the end of this, what I do is I'm gonna save Joshua's AoE attack, and then he pretty much wipes all of the heroes out. So very useful in PvP. She just quite can't reach. Yeah, very useful in PvP. A lot of times you'll see people keep Josh in the back, and then if you try to take Josh out in one shot, it's hard to do because of these blue guys that he's got, right? And if he can survive just that one round, that's all he needs to throw that AoE. Also, after he throws his big AoE, he gets to move 3 blocks, so he can really he can throw that thing and get the hell out of dodge, which is really nice. Then you can kind of use him to pick people off. His other attack that I bring, we'll look at it real quick. A lot of YouTubers did not like this single target ability about him because, well, let's see, it's a normal attack, which is okay because this guy has a decently high attack. Like, mine's not fully built and he's at like 1400. But this thing has it's a 2-turn cooldown. It just does 1 damage, but it has a 40% chance of just doing 2 attacks. So I'll take that. That's pretty nice. When you need that to go off, and it does, that can kill a hero, depending on the hero. And what's really nice is you can attack close range with extreme magic bow and still use this. You can get 2 attacks out of Joshua if you're lucky, and your guard infantry can get their attacks. If that goes off, not many things survive. So that is what I like about Joshua. He is fundamentally different than other rogues. So that's definitely one of my favorite things about him. And a lot of people don't see that coming, right? They don't have the character. They might have missed that collab. So this is kind of your chance to get a pretty good breakdown of how these characters work. These aren't the most powerful characters. Well, Estelle is. This Joshua, I'm sure he's ranked top 20 on this server, but he's not like number 1 or anything. But this still gives you a pretty good idea of how this guy works. And what you should expect if you have to deal with him. So, same thing with Estelle. Let's see. Yep, these guys are from Trails in the Sky. And I'm sure they will bring that collab back. And you guys will have a chance to pick these heroes up. I would do it again in a heartbeat. They are a very good faction to run. Because you got to figure the other characters that are part of this faction group. One of them is Sakura, and I definitely love her. So that's why I've been keeping up on these characters, because well, I can run them with Sakura. Well, I can run Sakura with them. It becomes very effective. Let's see. Oh, all these guys lined up for me in a row. Here you go. I can get a couple of them. Shabam. And obviously they're great Guild War characters. Like Estelle can solo a lot of maps. If you play her at Joshua, he's, you know, as long as you can just keep him alive. Even, I feel like even if you don't have a strong Joshua, if you can just keep him alive at that till the end, and you can throw his AoE, he's gonna wipe out the enemy heroes. It does a lot of damage, and then it does a ton of fixed damage. So, oh man, poor Omega. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do something about all these guys. Let's see. I don't want to throw Joshua's AoE just yet, but desperate times. No, I think we'll be alright. Honestly, I think the hero spawn right here. I wouldn't throw his AoE right now. I'd wait for the heroes to spawn, and I would try to get the heroes and some of these mobs with it if I could. But that's just if I could. And we're obviously going to want to get our fusion power up for when the heroes drop. So, you know, if we look at Joshua now, like, he's taking some hits. The guard infantry have low health. None of that's going to matter because he's going to be throwing an AoE. So that's what I like about Joshua. He can kind of scrape by, and even at half health, this guy can be very, very deadly until you take him out. So another thing about Estelle, she always has like an AoE to throw. So even if Estelle had very low health right now, she could still hit you with an AoE, and you wouldn't be able to retaliate against it. So I would also like to point out these guys, my Lance Felixes, I don't know if they're level 10, but they definitely, they don't really sport a very good attack compared to the Amazons. It's not just about the break. The Amazons are just going to have a higher attack. But I think we'll make it through this, and I'll be able to throw both of their AoEs. And I think we'll be all set. I don't know. Guess we'll find out right now. Oh, poor Cher. Oh, see, I thought the heroes were going to spawn behind us. Oh boy. Alright, well this is interesting. I wish some of these girls would move. What can you do right here? I can get a couple of them. Actually, where can Joshua throw his from? Yeah, we'll go with Joshua's first. So here's Joshua, Phantom Raid. This is his creme de creme, as you can tell. And a lot of times, that will take out a PvP team. Like, he can be pretty damn deadly. And then he can run away, right? And now he can pick some of these people off because, obviously, their health is pretty damn low. And then we got this girl, and look at that. Joshua made a nice, he carved out a nice spot for her. Since she's at full health, typically I would throw this AoE, and I would save the other AoE for next turn so she can fully heal. But we might as well just finish big. I'm sure that catapult will survive, but bam. And she fully heals. And remember, that's the ability right there that a lot of people are going to put clock on her for, right? Because if she throws that and fully heals herself, and clock procs, that means next turn I can throw it again and heal myself again. And it's really hard to kill this girl, right? I mean, she's got over 10k health. Lance Felix's, I'm sure, got over 10k health if you build them. and plus all the damage reduction. She also has like 1,000 defense. Magic defense is almost 900. So all in all, a very fun tank, very different. You also don't see too many of her built, because when this character came out, a lot of YouTubers pretty much said, hey, if you have Ledin and you're invested into him, you don't need to build this girl. And I think a lot of people just didn't even pay attention to her. But I did. So, Mobile Gamers Unite. This is my Joshua and Estelle running around destroying Guild War. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anybody got any questions or any comments, anything to add, leave me a comment. They're always open. That's what they're there for. Peace, everybody. Have a good night.